When PB Met J. Written by KATELYN ARONSON. Illustrated by REBAR. Once upon a kitchen, the fritters chilled on one side, the cupboard crew loafed about on the other. We're so much cooler than the cupboard crew, not to mention fresher. They're spoiled, all of them, spent their lives on the top shelf. Jeepers, though, jelly. Can the cupboard crew be that bad? Across the way, it was the same sour grapes. Never trust a fridger. Eventually, they turn on you. Brr, those fridgers give me the chills. We're a much cozier bunch. Aw, nuts, thought Peanut Butter. Can the fridgers be that bad? He had a secret question he'd always wanted to ask a fridger. The Friday night jam was the only time the fridgers and the cupboard crew mingled on the island in between. Tonight they'd gather as usual, determined to outdance one another. Jars shimmied, spun, and twirled across the countertop. Smooth moves! You gotta be extra crunchy, ha! Peanut Butter sighed. He wasn't the best at boogieing. He couldn't help but notice how Jelly excelled at twirling, though. She looked a lot sweeter than the average fridger, too. He might just get close enough to ask his secret question once and for all. Uh-huh. You're from the fridge, right? Yes, I'm Jelly. J for short. I'm Peanut Butter, PB for short. They got to talking, and Jay didn't seem cold to PB at all. Plus, she smelled like berries. Sure, Jay found PB a little nutty, but he asked interesting questions. Speaking of the fridge, PB said, it looks so cool and glowy inside. What happens when the door... Scram, Sir Chunks, you're blocking the dance floor. Excuse me, but I'd relish this dance. Jay blushed. PB couldn't believe that Fancy Pants Pickles. How dare he interrupt? I guess fridgers only talk with fridgers, PB thought. He wished he'd never come. He headed home to the cupboard. That's when things spun out of control. Jelly took a twirl for the worst and completely lost her lid. The eggs quit rocking and rolling. The slicers stopped strumming. The jars froze. Everyone knew what was coming next. Cling, cling, itty, clang. Dog, they gasped. Sniff, sniff. The dog caught a whiff of berries. Sniff, sniff. Now his paws were on the counter. Jelly's glass jar rattled. Ah, nuts, PB watched. The awful scene from up in the cupboard. There was only one thing to do, and only he could do it. PB jumped and landed, wham, on the dog's tail. Arf, arf, arf. The poor pooch forgot about Jelly, but PB lay on the floor, lidless. His peanutty perfume drifted until... Sniff, sniff. Jeepers! PB! cried Jelly. There was only one thing to do, and only she could do it. Everyone, Jelly commanded, lid launch. Clingity clong clang. The condiments sprang into action. They popped their tops, undid their lids, and catapulted their caps into the air. Clingity cling clong. Crash. Footsteps sounded on the stairs. dog, came a voice. During kitchen cleanup, tops were swapped, lids were switched. The cupboard crew got mixed up with the friggers. Milk and hot cocoa hit it off pretty well. Pickles found himself overheating in the cupboard, but didn't have the courage to climb down. As for Peavy, he snuck into the refrigerator and squeezed in next to Jelly. Peanut Butter, my brother from the cupboard. Turns out you are pretty smooth, Peavy. And Jelly, you've got spice. From now on, we all stick together. Suddenly, Peavy remembered the secret question he'd always wanted to ask. Hey everyone, what happens when the door closes? Ha! I knew it! Good night, all. The fridge door swung shut and out went the light. The end.